Hello and welcome to this episode of Microchips, and on the bench today we have this Midland UK40 FM Homebase, which is CB2781, and it's coming for a little bit of work. So before we start, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, join Facebook, join Patreon, buy me a coffee, have a look at my website microchips.net, and let's get started. See what's wrong with this old girl. So we've got the lid off and we can see there is a mid-band modification already been done to it, and I believe that is the problem. It's been done with some sort of piggyback, which is one of the ways of doing it. And just having a look around the radio, everything looks okay, even using the jumbo style SWR board. But we need to find out what's gone on with this radio, and the customer wants me to fit one of my mid-band boards in there, so we're going to do that as well. So yeah, lovely radio this. So we've got the bottom off, we're on the look on the bottom, and yeah, everything looks just fine. Now what we have there, we've obviously got the PD line switched, which is the usual way of switching the mid-band and the UK. But on another switch, we've got this capacitor going onto the crystal to drop the drop it onto UK offset, or bring the mid-band up. Either way, the customer has complained that this thing is off frequency. We have a squelch pop capacitor there, so that's all good. Apart from that, everything looks okay. Capacitor's in the right place there for the power. So let's have a look at the frequency counter, and yeah, UK40 is a little bit down, and mid-band is completely wayward, not even responding to the correct channel, which should be 26965. It's way out. So we can still see it's still producing some power, but it's not producing where it should be. And we'll try again without the frequency counter sliding off the radio. So yeah, there's the switching in of the capacitor. So that's a little bit how you're doing that, having to switch it to the band and then switch a dropper in as well. I mean, if you've only got one terminal on that switch, then put a relay in and have them on both. But anyway, it's not good. So we're going to remove all these bits and pieces, and we're going to fit in one of my mid-band boards, which has got the onboard frequency adjustment, and also it does not bring the PD line out to the front, it switches it on board the actual modification board, so there's no noise from the PD line, keeps it nice and short. Now the way with these old modifications is that the 7132 reads off the channel display, so we need to pick all of that off nice and carefully. I mean, this is a perfectly acceptable way of doing it. But you know, it's just a little bit how you're doing with all those legs sticking up, flapping about in the breeze. Anyway, let's get those removed. So using the trusty desolder gun as normal, we will desolder the 7132 and the 7137. because the 7137 will need to go into my mod board. And also, due to the header that I'm going to be fitting, we need to relocate a couple of components on the bottom of the board just to make space for it. So there's the 7132. We'll carefully take out the 7137, which we know works. Just we have a problem with the mid-band side. So there's our 7132 out. And last but not least, we need to pull C1, because that value needs to be changed. Because if we change this value, then it pulls a 10240 a little bit further and allows us to get the radio perfect on both of the bands. So we've relocated the resistor and the coil. Now we'll just need to find a switched 13 volts, which we've got at that point there, and we've also got at this point here. So we'll use that one. So for C1, we're going to put in a 22 picofarad capacitor. Just like so. And here is the mod board with a 7132 already built on it, with the frequency compensation and the PD line switching already on it. So I've just had to adjust the pins, push it into the header, beautiful. And that will go into the place where the 7137 used to live. Just like that. So let's get this soldered into place. Now, as always with these Homebase radios, there are live terminals, so always make sure you unplug them from the mains when working on them, or just use a 13 volt supply like you can do on this one. So we've got it switched on, and on the bottom of my board is an LED that shows VCO lock. So we have VCO lock on UK. It is taking its time to come on, but it is there. Okay, that's just fine. So we know UK40 is working. All we need to do is connect these two wires together for mid-band. And we've got a lock on RX and no lock on TX, which is to be expected because the VCO will need broadbanding and adjusting. Now the VCO has already been broadbanded on this one, so we're going to have a look at the VCO voltage and see whether we can level it out across both of the bands. So using our test meter on the test point, you see that our TX VCO is just a little bit out. Now this one is always a little bit twitchy on mid-band because it's obviously not designed to go down this far, so it always seems it's right on the edge. But just a little bit of patience and flicking between the bands, we can get a lock on both of the bands. So the red indication on the board is a good visual indication of a correct VCO lock. It does help whilst installing this. So there's our UK40. So first off, we bring the UK40 down using the trimmer next to the 10240 crystal. I will obviously put it on my proper frequency counter later, but this one has been calibrated against a 10 meg reference, so it's pretty close for testing. We'll obviously put it on the proper counter before I box it up. Now we're going to mid-band. Now we use the trimmer that's on board my modification board. And then we can bring the mid-band to exactly where it should be. It's close enough. Channel 1, channel 40. Yep. And we can disconnect the wires. Puts us back onto UK. Yep, fantastic. So we're as good as on frequency there. Barring a few hertz, which, you know, there's no problem there. So now we need to fit it to the switch that was already used. So we're going to have the UK40 and mid-band on this switch. So I just need to unsolder the original wires, find out which wires are which for the correct selection. And we'll just fire the radio back up. We'll pop a microphone in. Let's give it a try. So there's UK. Flick it over. There's mid-band. Fantastic. Working a treat. Now we've got a switch spare there now, because obviously all of the frequency compensation's done on the board. So we're just going to make sure that the RX is fine across both of the bands. So just using the signal generator, we've set an S9 to -72, and this radio has got really good ears. It's really, really sensitive. So UK40 seems to be okay. Let's have a look on channel 1 mid-band. So it's a little bit low on channel 1 mid-band. So let's just adjust and get it up. So we're just adjusting the coils on the front end. There we go. And what we need to do is just get it levelled out across both of the bands. So we'll go to channel 40 UK. Fine. Minus 72B with an S9 signal. Beautiful. Helps if I put the correct frequency into my generator. So there's channel 40. Fantastic. Yep. Got really good ears down to minus 115 dB, which is fine. Let's go on to channel 1 mid-band. Notice the mistake. It's 26, not 27. There we go. So we can hear minus 115 dB down there. Put it up to minus 72. So that just needs to be an S9. So we'll just give it a little bit of an adjustment. just to bring it up to S9. There we go. That's all that's needed for that front end. We'll just check it on channel 40. And yeah, a little bit over S9, but you know, we're not going to worry about that too much. Yeah, fantastic. That's nice and level. So let's have a look at the RF power output. So we've got 4 watts. We've got 4 watts. Going to mid-band. And we're pretty good on power. No extra work's needed. So the customer wants me to fit a high gain 5 style bleep to this. So unfortunately the connections for the switch that we want to use are right underneath the power switch. Now I could try and prod and poke with a soldering iron, but I thought it might be a little bit easier to actually remove the switch so we don't burn anything. Plus I can give the volume control a little bit of switch cleaner and lubricant whilst we're in there, as some of the controls are a little bit noisy. And plus we need to get rid of the original wire. Somebody's already cut a track on there, but what we'll do is we'll use the unused side of the switch. So just checking with the multimeter that the switch is as to be expected, which it is. So we can get rid of this old modification wire. And we can drop a couple of new wires onto the place for the high gain 5 bleep. And like I say, whilst we're in there, customer wanted the switches given a bit of cleaner and lubing, so that's what we'll do. Whilst we've got this switch in a accessible position, we'll give it a little bit of lubricant and a bit of working. There we go. And I've done that with the rest of the switches as well. So there's our mid-band board, there's our high gain 5 beep, all wired up nicely, all cable managed, all nice and tidy. Last but not least, we'll put the lid back on, give it a wipe down for the customer, and there we have it. There's our Midland UK FM Homebase, and I've had one of these in the repair before, so it was nice to see one. Even though it is just a standard Cybernet 134 board, it's still a very nice radio to look at and a nice radio to operate. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, join Facebook, join Patreon, buy me a coffee, have a look at my website, microchips.net. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.